Welcome back to a new episode of Decently Indecent. I believe this is 16, maybe 17. Don't quote me on that. I'm old. I start losing track. Guys, today we're going to be talking about a couple of things. One of them is a little bit of butt sex. Okay, typical Leon Lush. The other one is the fact that we're talking about the sketch situation, and if you don't even know what that means at all, when I say that, I'll explain it to you. If you just hang tight. Some of you boomers in the audience might be a little out of touch with the young guys, the Twitter crowd, right? I'm here to fill you in. Also, I'm busting out if you're listening and you can't watch this, I got a new 750 of tequila. It's a Reposado, and it came in a skeleton, like a skeleton bottle that I love with a little sombrero on it. And my wife gave me shit for paying extra money for it, but I was like, honey, it's going to be a decoration for the office. So keep your trap shut. How does that sound? So salutations. Thank you guys for being here as we take a little sip, pour a little something to sip on as we enjoy ourselves. This is the deal. Huge news. The last week or so, one of the biggest streamers, one of the most viral streamers in the last 6 months to a year, I would say, who's become kind of like a mainstay in pop culture, kind of like cross-pollinating between all of the biggest streamers / creators like Kai Cenat and all these people, and then even more mainstream. This dude Sketch, who's like this young 20-something-year-old peculiar young man who cultivated an audience streaming, I think, Madden, and people just loved his kind of quirky personality. He's kind of got this weird like Trump / autistic vibe going on. I know that may sound a little strange if you don't know what I'm talking about, but you'll hear him talk a little bit and some of the stuff we're going to watch. We're going to watch a couple of videos, a couple of reactions to what's going on. But the overarching thesis of what happened is this dude has been on an absolutely parabolic run the last 6, 7, 8 months as this particular personality, and it got leaked or it's dropped, or of course, as the internet does, if you have skeletons in your closet, you have a past, and you get popular, that shit's coming out. There's just no way around it, right? So there are these leaks of these photos, these images, and apparently some videos, and it was alleged that he has a past as a gay OnlyFans creator. Like, there's videos of him doing some pretty hardcore shit with other dudes. So that started circulating. I want to say it's none of people's business, but I mean, I guess once you become popular to a certain degree, it's like everything is everybody's business. That's just the way the internet works. So this went crazy, and people are like, nah, that's not him. For what it's worth, I mean, from what I've seen in the pictures, he was dressed up kind of femme. And so there was a lot of like, it's not him. And then, of course, like the internet sleuths, like the Reddit sleuths, they're like looking at pictures from him now and like cross-referencing body marks and different wrinkles on his forehead. And like all the fucking internet detectives come out and they're like, oh, this is definitely Sketch. And then you get all the other streamers reacting to it, some negative, some not, some negative, some supportive, some bad. Anyways, turns out it was him. It's just a little strange just seeing his demeanor and how he acts now, because you would never picture him as this kind of like little kind of like this twink, almost sissy dude that was doing OF content only 2 years ago, and then all of a sudden found Jesus or whatever it was and adopted this whole new persona, and then went absolutely parabolic and viral and became one of the biggest streamers in the course of 2 years, which is quick. I mean, that is quick. And to have it's one thing to have a history when you're older and you did some shit like 15, 20 years ago. Certainly that happens all the time. We see that with politicians. We see that with other streamers and stuff too. But it's another thing for it to be like 2 years, like pretty relatively fresh. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been making YouTube videos for fucking 7, 8 years now, and it feels like forever. So 2 years, not that long ago. So I'm not going to jump super heavy into like my personal opinions on it, because I typically don't care that much. I just like to keep my thumb on the pulse of what's going on in kind of like mainstream internet culture, because it's very interesting to me. I do think there are some interesting takes on the internet about this whole situation. Obviously, there was a lot of people outraged over the fact that he was hiding his past in this homosexual OnlyFans adult content and kind of like hiding it, and now has a huge audience of children. So everyone comes out with this particular moral stance. And on the other side of it is all these people are supporting him, like, it's none of our business. Like, we all have a past. He's a great dude. And that's totally fine too. From what I've seen of him in the last 6-7 months, making the rounds on the big podcasts, he's been on the Theo Von podcast, Bradley Martin. He's collabing with Nelk. He's doing he's with all the heavy hitters. Seems like a very fun, jovial dude. Love his personality. Funny. I don't know. I honestly don't know if his personality, his like kind of his tick and his facial ticks and the way, if those are legitimate or if that's part of the persona he adopted. It would be a little fucking weird if he completely like manifested that, or maybe he's just always been like that and it just comes, maybe just gets exacerbated when he's nervous or something. This is also kind of a case of the internet witch hunting a little bit. You have this dude who's just on the grind, blowing up, having his moment. And of course, someone's going to find something to try and tear you down. And then everyone dogpiled, people just making fun and reacting to it on stream. And it sent him into a pretty dark spiral. And, we'll see in a moment here from him and some of the people he was with at the time that he was essentially driven to the point where he was considering suicide, which is no joke. I think we all spend so much time on the internet. It's very easy to point fingers and say things that are vitriolic or, making jokes at someone's expense, not remembering that there's a person on the other side of that. I'm probably guilty of that myself sometimes. But when you're this, younger, maybe insecure dude who all of a sudden has this massive audience that loves you and you're the fucking next hot thing, and all of a sudden this pass comes out and everyone's dogpiling you, I can see why that could be pretty traumatizing to the point where it might drive you to make some pretty rash decisions. The fucking crazy part is, though, and I think about this a lot, like when you're on the receiving end of that, it probably feels like the world is ending, right? How it's so embarrassing. How could anything get worse? Like, you can't believe this thing got out. And this is for what it's worth. Like, it depends on what it is. Like, all right, maybe, some footage pops up of you saying some unsavory things a few years ago. Sure. Maybe you dropped a slur when you were fucking 18. Okay. Big deal. Whatever. These things, we've seen these things get cropped up and people sleuthing and finding everything they can on influencers from years past. When there's like full ass tapes of you getting fully penetrated by large veiny members, just out of left field, and all of a sudden your whole public persona, your public image kind of has to shift and you have to navigate that. That can feel pretty crazy. But on the flip side of that, if you're like someone like me or like the normal internet user, you're just like, you don't care. In general, like, I don't care. Like, what do I care, right? This is the internet. There's going to be a new story next week. So it's like, as the person who's under the microscope, it feels like the world is ending. But as a person on the internet, just clicking around, watching all these clips, it doesn't matter. So the overarching thesis, ultimately, like, I don't think people really care that much. But for whatever reason, the way human emotions work, it feels like your life is ending to the point where you consider taking your own life because you're so fucked up over the embarrassment, whatever else it is. So after all this came out, he obviously went dark for a while. There was a situation where he was around a couple of people at the time where shit really started hitting the fan. He was with Ricky Banks, FaZe Banks. A lot of you guys might know him. He's one of the OGs in the gaming space, original founder of FaZe Clan. And he was with him and a couple other friends. And this is when shit was really hitting the fan. I'm going to read, Ricky posted a tweet. This was a couple nights ago. He basically said, not everything needs to be broadcast and farmed, but since y'all want to jump to crazy assumptions, Sketch told me to post these receipts. All the FaZe boys were with him last night. Sketch was my homie yesterday. He's my homie today. He'll be my homie tomorrow. You guys are fucking weirdos. So this is him just responding to the internet like, yo, leave the dude alone, right? Because he saw firsthand how fucked up this kid got over this coming out and the ensuing kind of outrage over it, whatever that means. He posted a text exchange between him and Sketch, and it looks like Ricky was checking up on him. He says, "You awake?" He goes, I'm sorry, bro. I didn't mean to involve y'all. He says, what do you mean, bro? You're a boy. You didn't have to dip. You didn't involve us in anything, bro. You good? He goes, I'm over by the airport. I didn't know what to do. I'm so sorry. Ricky says, come back. You're good, dude. The boys pulled up on me and woke me up. They wanted me to make sure you were good. You're good, bro. Come back. We're all here. You're the homie. He says, I'll come now. I just need someone to talk to. Ricky says, we're all posted, man. Come back. You need me to call you a car? And Sketch is on the way. So that's good shit right there. For me, that's great. So aside from your beliefs around the morality of whatever happened, the morality of adult content, the morality of homosexuality, right? Everyone has their own take on this, whether you're progressive, you're super conservative, and all this shit. Put all that aside. Someone in their darkest moment, you have a homie reaching out to him, trying to make sure he's good. Love to see that. So that's great. And then he goes on to post a picture of, looks like Sketch leaving the property to go to the airport, but then showing that he returned because his quintessential, famous, dirty, disgusting monarchs in nerd glasses are on the ground, meaning he returned and he's here and he's safe with us. The monarchs it's a type of shoe. It's like a old dad, like a New Balance 401, almost like a dad shoe. And it's kind of like part of Sketch's new persona. I'm calling it a persona. Maybe that's just who he is now. From what I understand and what he said, he was allegedly in a really dark place several years ago. And while he was doing these adult videos, I think he said he was an addict, and I don't know to what. Maybe he was doing some drugs and he was trying to make some money to fund or fuel that addiction. I don't know the details. Not super concerned with him at this moment in time. Needless to say, the internet has been kind of going crazy over this, and everyone's kind of chimed in their 2 cents. He's had a lot of friends come to his defense. He's had some people come out and shit on him. Like, how could you possibly lie to everybody and kind of pretend you're someone you're not, especially when you have kids as your audience, et cetera, et cetera. I want to real quick just watch through some of the parts of his first stream after this whole thing, after the night where he went back to Ricky's house and allegedly was kind of talked off the edge after Ricky reached out, which is excellent. He did a live stream, and people are calling it his apology, which is interesting. And I guess it was, on YouTube, the quote unquote apology is one of the most famous types of content. You talk about all the biggest YouTubers in their day have seemingly had some sort of apology video, PewDiePie for the bridge moment, T Martin, like there's over and over and over. When someone fucks up, it's like, what are they going to do? And then they release their apology video and everyone sits down and grades it. And the general reaction to this was it's good. He was super authentic. He didn't try to beat around the bush. He was acting in typical new Sketch fashion, which is very quirky and a lot of face ticks and funny walking around. So we're going to listen through some of this and just chat about that real quick.
Wasn't planning on doing this today, but I guess so.
Oh, wait, hold on. I missed the best part. Hold on. He sits down.
Elephant in the room. I got a haircut.
Breaks the ice right off the bat with a joke. Love that. None of this long sigh like, I didn't want to have to make this video. Classic apology bullshit. Just being himself. Little joke. Love it.
Wasn't planning on doing this today, but I guess so. Okay, I'll start from the top. Look at this. Open and honest. That was me.
Got him.
That was me. It's okay, though. I will tell you what. Okay. 2 years ago, I did some stuff. I'm sorry if you've seen some of the stuff. I'm a changed person.
It's okay, brother. You know what I'm saying, brother? We're going to go. It was 2 years ago. I did this thing, brother. If you know what I'm talking, in the beginning of this podcast, when I said he's kind of like Trump / autist, you know what I'm saying? Now you might understand what I'm saying. That's kind of like it's like a little blend of the two.
This is going worse than I thought it was. So 2 years ago, I did not have sexual relations with that man. I'm just kidding. I did.
Yes, I did. Look at this little pitter patter.
Catch on the bag. It's okay. What else do I have to say? I don't know. Thank you to all my people that have been sticking up for me. I understand if you're mad. Shit hit the fan. I don't go on Twitter. I deleted. I'm just kidding. I didn't delete Twitter. I have been cautiously avoiding it. It's like fucking landmines everywhere I go. Okay, I was dealing with some addiction problems.
Okay.
A couple of them.
That's all I know about that. I don't know if I'm assuming it was drugs of some sort. That's usually, I wouldn't be surprised if it was pills. Whatever it is, neither here nor there. His mannerisms, though, to me are just so funny. I guess that's part of his appeal, is just how kind of like weird and nerdy he is with the mannerisms. And the fact that he kind of has that Trump inflection.
But no excuse there. What, I guess. Just trying to give you some background here.
He doesn't really go into
what
detail.
else was I going to say? Yeah, that was me. I fucked up. I won't do it again. I'm just kidding. Well, I am dead serious about not doing it again. That was a dark time. rough time.
So you, of course, have people, very progressive people that are very pro adult industry and all these things. They're like, well, we want, like that were upset that he was apologizing for doing adult gay films on OnlyFans. Like, well, this blah, blah, blah. And then there's a whole nother crowd of people that are mad that that are just assuming he's gay and are mad that he's lying about it or something, which is crazy for two reasons. Like, if he is gay or prefers men, then he has no obligation to have to come out and say that. He can do whatever he wants. And the other thing is like, if you're an addict, there's a good chance he either might be bisexual or actually likes women, but was just doing this type of thing because he wanted the money for the drugs, right? We've all seen that story before. So just an observation.
89,000? Who the fuck am I, Jinxie? Hey, love my brother Jinxie. Not like that, though. Just my brother. I don't know. Stay off Twitter, please. Shout out to you. Shout out Steve. I'm owning up to it. I don't know how long these videos usually are supposed to go, but who knows? Fuck it, I might stream for an hour. Sonny, turn on DTS. Had that in my past. Media, just threat of that coming out for...
Sorry, here we go.
I've been living under the threat of that coming out for like 2 years. Started social media, just kind of dicking around. Had that in my past. I'll tell you what, weight lifted off my shoulders. God is good. God is good. All the time. But weight off.
Yeah, so he uses that line a lot, the God is good thing, and I think he genuinely maybe had a come to Jesus moment. I don't know if he comes from a religious family or what the deal is, but it sounds like whatever he was into, whether you are a religious person or not, I always think it's wonderful when people can put the brakes on whatever path they're going down and get control of the ship, right? And I'm not speaking specifically, well, whatever. I'm speaking mostly about the drugs. Also, say what you want about OnlyFans adult content. This isn't a morality debate around that. I personally don't think that that's the best occupation as far as having a net positive effect on your life, but that also doesn't come from a moral standpoint or a religious standpoint like it does for a lot of people. I just think that it's probably net negative. It's net negative outside of the fact that, sure, you can make a bunch of money, right? Not the video to get into that.
Off my shoulders, to be honest. You have some stuff in the closet. Not, no pun intended there. But yeah, it came out. I mean, I tell you what, I was going and doing all this different stuff. I was going in the back of my mind, holy shit. And guess what? Holy shit was last night. And I have a lot of people to credit for, I'll be honest.
So this is when he starts to get a little bit sincere and emotional, which I think is great. I mean, he must have known in the back of his mind, but when you have something like that out there and you get you get famous on the internet, you know it's only a matter of time. There's just no way it's not going to eventually come out. Now, in his defense, a lot of people who start doing social media because they want to like get a following and make some money, you're never anticipating you're going to blow up and have this insane rise to stardom like him, right? So you're not kind of thinking about that in the equation. Sounded like he made a pivot in his life. All right, I'm going to try this social media thing, this gaming. People loved him. He's doing all right. At a certain level, you're fine, obviously. Like you can have kind of like, you can have a certain level of internet fame and be pretty good. You have your community. You haven't hit the mainstream yet, though, where just everyone's kind of coming for you and trying to figure out every detail of you. He got to that point, and like he said, he must have known. It must have honestly been agonizing. And he said it, weight off my shoulders. Like there's been so many clips circulating too, where people have gone back to previous clips with him and his buddies, and like they'll make gay jokes. Obviously, it's like a fun thing people like to do, joke about fucking each other in the ass, and he's always just a little, goes along with it. And of course, people are pulling all those clips that they can and being like, oh, he's probably doesn't hit the same now, or he must be so uncomfortable, blah, blah, blah.
Plan A was, and I will say candidly, was to probably eat a
bullet. He wanted to kill himself.
Probably to call it quits if this ever came out. But some people saved me. Shout out Banks. Shout out my parents. Like, shout out y'all. Like, I fucked up, but I'm changed. Yeah, that's about it, though.
It's emotional. I love that. I love that kind of that raw emotion of someone who has just gone through one of the most difficult experiences of his life, and he had people around him that were able to be a support system for him and make sure that he knew that he was going to be all right. Because I think that is sometimes what happens when people are going through the worst moment in their lives. When you're in that moment, it can feel like there's no way out. It can feel like you're at the bottom of an endless pit and there's no light at the end of the tunnel, right? What history teaches us and what you know is that time typically will eventually heal all wounds. Like there's no darkness without a dawn, right? So if you can have that support system and those people around you when you're in those moments of darkness and disparity, that could be the difference maker. And in this case, that was great. And I mean, it's kind of a double-edged sword. Like, it helps because he probably has such a great network of friends that he's made through this streaming journey. But on the flip side of that, part of the reason he's in this place is because he had this millions of people looking at this shit that he's ashamed of and making fun of him or shitting on him or telling him he's awful and blah, blah, blah.
Like, my original plan was there's two things. One, either be delusional and think it's never going to come out, or two...
Delusion, yep.
What's the plan after? The plan after was not very good. If I was alone and I was at my house, I probably wouldn't be talking to you right now. But the people at FaZe, Banks, especially, and my friends that I've made over the past couple years came in and they saved me. I don't know what I was going to do, but... I don't know. Fuck it, we start streaming more often.
So that's pretty much it for his apology, quote unquote, / explanation. I don't feel like he needs to apologize. I guess maybe, like, this is the argument around it is like, from some of these people, like, oh man, you're lying to these kids. How are you going to come on here and lie? And I don't see it as like a direct lie. It's like, yo, he had this chapter in his life that he's clearly ashamed of and seems to have left behind. And probably one of the reasons why he started the streaming and playing games is whatever, is to leave that behind and kind of start this new life. And so you're not just going to lead like every stream you sign on, be like, hey guys, welcome to my stream. We're going to be playing Madden 24. My name's Sketch. I'm really funny. Also, I used to fuck guys on OnlyFans and do a ton of drugs. Just want to let you know. Thanks for coming. Let's get into it. Like, you're not, it's not like people were asking about it and he was lying. It's like, no, when it did come out, And the second it came out, he got on stream in this situation the next day and was like, yeah, that was me. I err on the side of like, it doesn't mean shit to me. I'm just glad the dude's okay. I hope he continues to thrive. And I don't even want to say it feels like everyone deserves second chances. It's like, no, it's not second chances. The dude just was living a certain life and he was able to get out of that. And now he's doing this. And anytime something like this happens and it involves something like LGBTQ, in this case where it was gay, like that becomes a huge part of the discussion. And now he's kind of like a champion for gay people almost, or I don't know. Like there's tons of articles. One of the that have come out over it. Like one of the articles is Twitch star OnlyFans controversy is turning people away from homophobia. Kind of a funny title. I don't know, like turning away from homophobia. Like, what does that mean? Like his fans that were homophobic are like now not just because someone they love, they realize used to have gay sex. Now I'm just thinking of this for kind of on the spot here, but if it was old OnlyFans content of him fucking a girl, right? Wouldn't even matter. People would be like, yo, dog, that's crazy. Like, look at this dude, right? But it's the fact that he was fucking and getting fucked by dudes that made it controversial. It's just an interesting thing because generally I don't care about people's sexual preferences, like who they want to be with. Doesn't affect me. But I know that is a hot topic for some people. There are a lot of people like in the communities he's kind of reached out to and been a part of. Like he's been involved with a lot of like NFL athletes and people in that community, the Kai Cenats. There is a general history in black communities, rap culture, athletics, for whatever reason, where homophobia seems to be a little more prolific. And so I think that was maybe a concern. I think that was maybe a concern for him, and part of where the controversy comes from. And you'll see in some of the clips we're going to watch where some of the guys that are most vocal against him are in some of those communities, which is interesting. So it almost felt like it was more a question of, it was more a battle of, oh, he was hiding that he was gay and there's kids watching him versus, oh, he was hiding that he was making adult films and there's kids watching him. Because like I said, if it came out that he was, banging chicks, those same dudes that were like, I can't believe my kids were watching you, guaranteed you they wouldn't have cared. Right? So interesting observation. You just search this dude's name on Google right now. Sketch OnlyFans leak explained. A Twitch streamer confirms he created adult content. Fans rally to streamer support after public outing. Theo Vaughn, who's one of my favorite people, one of my favorite podcasts. I just think he's just one of the nicest, gentlest human beings, good at podcasting, and just has the funniest, driest sense of humor. He had Sketch on a few weeks ago. He recently spoke about the sketch situation. Listen to a little bit of that here.
He was on your show.
Yeah. And it was excellent. I've spent time with him over the past few months. We talk every couple of weeks. Just like, a gift. Sketch is a gift to the world. And so I guess allegedly he did some OnlyFans stuff a few years back, and some of it may have been homoerotic. Or gay or men, extra men, more than one man type of thing, or just
it's the way he
gay.
says shit is
what I'm talking about.
So funny.
And so all these pictures started coming up, things that people found in OnlyFans. And then I think everybody was just curious, is this really him? You have no idea now with AI or whatever, you have no idea what anything is.
Right. It could be.
And people,
wait, what did he say? Was it like genital warfare?
I don't know, but people were writing some of the strangest things. Nick, what was that one tweet that I put in there?
Well, I mean, like, so I don't understand. Like, is he like canceled or something? Like,
well, this shows the uncanniness of whenever.
He's talking to Nick Swartzen, who's like just an old boomer comedian who was in some movies I used to love growing up, like Grandma's Boy and shit. Regardless,
people rip somebody on the internet.
Yeah, it's like, what a broken record. It's like, good God.
And I love Sketch. I support him 100%, no matter what it is. Somebody tweeted this: how could you at the Sketch Reel? I met you. I used to be a big fan of you. I was your biggest fan of all time. And this is just kind of like a chubby kid or young Filipino woman who has
So, if you can't, if you're listening and you can't see that right now, I'm sorry, but this fucking this dude absolutely fucking kills me. So the tweet is literally just what looks like a young kid who's like a fan posting, you know, after finding out that this came out, like, you know, I met you, I was a big fan of you. How could you do this to me? I was your biggest fan of all time. And it's like this pretty obese child, looks maybe like Samoan or African American. Theo's like this young chubby kid or small Filipino woman. I don't know why that absolutely took me out.
Her young Filipino woman who has tagged Sketch in this and is kind of calling him out, I guess. And they put a heartbroken emoji, right?
Fuck, dude.
So first of all, what does it matter? Why are you not a fan now? He doesn't owe you that. Like, he had to tell you that he'd had gay activity or he had OnlyFans. But then here's what happens to this tweet. Somebody shares this tweet, tags that tweet, and adds to it, quotes. It said, "Go lose weight, you fat fucking fuck," right? To this child, okay? Period.
Oh my God.
Fucking fat shit. They were after that, period, which doesn't even have a noun in it, I guess. Or it might just be a noun, but it's missing.
Yeah, doesn't.
It needs a preposition. It needs something, right? It needs an adverb. Then, after that, they came to so far you would think they'd come to the defense of Sketch. Because they say, "Go lose weight, you fucking fat fuck." Comma, Mick fuck. Sorry, I left that part out. Period. Fucking fat shit. Then they double spaced and wrote, "Fuck Sketch, the gay fag." It's like, what?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. The internet is so bonkers insane.
I gotta be like, fucking credit to Theo's team of all the quote tweets to pick out for the show. Like that, what a quote. I hadn't seen that quote tweet. I actually, when I was on Twitter the other day, saw that original tweet of that young chubby kid saying that shit. But
I'm like, so I don't
dying,
read comments. I'm just like so over it where people like just chime in such insanity where I'm like, okay, like,
But you're not. Why even come to the defense? Like, what?
yeah, like what are you saying? Like, what is anybody?
That's the type of dude that just wants to see the world burn, right? Doesn't come to anyone's defense, just rips on that kid for his weight, and then says, "Fuck Sketch, the gay F word." Oh boy, that's funny. So this video goes on for a while, but I just love that dude so much. Like I said, it's all I saw on Twitter for a week. Everyone coming out with their responses. I'm gonna play a couple videos, look at some tweets of some of the people in his circle, some of the other big streamers, some of the young bucks. Jinxie, who another dude who I've only learned of in the last six to 8 months. He's another one of these kind of young streamers that had this exponential run, kind of similar to Sketch has, and they've become pretty good friends. He got pretty emotional over it, knowing that his friend was, you know, basically on the brink of him maybe never seeing him again, and was thankful that there were people around him to pull him back down.
But yeah, Sketch will be my friend no matter what. So that's all. Like you, Sketch will be my friend no matter what. So, yeah, and he didn't hurt anybody, so maybe don't hurt him because he didn't hurt anybody. Oh fuck! And W Banks yet again.
Yeah.
Because seriously, I'm not fucking trolling. You never know. You really do never know. And this genuinely could have saved Sketch's life. So, W fucking Banks.
Showing the Banks tweet we read earlier.
All right. Fuck, man. Holy fuck. I was,
So this is just a clip. He obviously probably led up to this, talking about the situation and got a little emotional about it.
Guys, I'm sorry if I know I didn't stream yesterday, and I'm sorry if I can't do a normal stream today. Just a lot of shit happened, and I never talk about stuff like this, but it's different when it's your friend and it's actually your friend. So, I don't think I can do like a normal stream tonight. I'll definitely do a normal stream tomorrow. Video games and act like nothing happened. Tomorrow, I promise, I feel right to fucking play video games and act like nothing happened. Tomorrow, I promise.
Yeah, no, it's funny, man. When you play video games for a living or you do innocuous shit, you know, I've spoken about this recently. I think even in the Dr. Disrespect podcast I did a week or two ago. If something serious happens, it's almost impossible just to do your like, haha, funny guy video games. Like you have to address it, even if you don't want to, even if it's not directly about you, right? Like this is just his friend. Like it's not even directly about him. Certainly he's impacted if it's one of his good friends. I've seen this in other scenarios as well, where just, and even with myself, like if something really grave happens in the world that has nothing to do with me, but it kind of has this it's like a cultural moment. It makes it difficult for me to to try and sit down and entertain or make jokes. And the irony of it is like sometimes in the midst of some of the worst things going on in the world, people need a release and a place to go to laugh and take their mind off those things. But it can be tough, yeah. But certainly, like if it hits close to home or if it happens to you, I guess things just need to be addressed. And Jinx, you got pretty emotional there. Yeah. Another thing I want to say too, you know, this same thing with Dr. Disrespect last week. You know how the second something happens like this, and for Doc, it's, you know, a whole different story. Okay. He was allegedly texting inappropriately with a minor. Okay. And in Sketch's case, it was like he has a little bit of a colored history with some things he's not proud of anymore, but weren't illegal by any means, right? Aside whatever drugs, but that wasn't it. It was just these kind of adult films. And anytime this happens, you have these terminally online internet fucking dudes who just go around demanding everybody comment on the situation. Like anyone who's ever talked to Sketch or been in a video with him or is friends with him, if they post content or they post a new video or make a tweet, doesn't matter if it's related, you just go, what about the Sketch? You're not going to talk about Sketch? Oh, you're not going to address the Sketch situation? That is my least favorite type of human being. My least favorite type. You could just wipe him off the face of the planet and I would be happy. I mentioned this because I saw this tweet from Big Cat. If you don't know who Big Cat is, he is one of the original like early OG employees of Barstool Sports. Kind of like Dave Portnoy's right-hand man. He's been with the company forever. Pretty popular guy, has a large audience. He's one of the higher ups at one of the biggest media companies in the world. And it started, he posted a tweet about something completely unrelated. He quote tweeted a poker tweet and was talking about poker. And of course, somebody replies to that and says, no comments on Sketch? Like what? Like who? What do you mean, dude? Like why? He's talking about poker. Why are you replying? Just being like, oh, you haven't said anything on the Sketch situation? And I don't know. Like, so I wouldn't be surprised if Sketch was like on something Barstool related, or he made a piece of content with Big Cat. So maybe there's some history there. But like, what a fucking loser! Like, why the people that just go around like, oh, this happened to this person that you talked to one time, and now, you tweeted about this thing and it wasn't about Sketch? Like, shut the fuck up, you fucking dumb cunt. I just can't stand people's mindset. Like, everyone's so entitled to everyone's fucking opinion about everything that's happening at all times. Oh, well, I'm a Barstool Sports fan, and I saw that you collaborated with Sketch one time, so I'm entitled to know your comment on Sketch. So that's all I'm going to tweet under everything that you post, even if it's unrelated to Sketch. Absolute fucking pleb. Anyways, Big Cat retweets it, and he says, yeah, my comment is that Sketch is awesome, and I hope he knows the majority of people, myself included, have his back. Love it. Good shit. Brett Cooper is I would say a conservative political commentator, part of the Daily Wire. I don't really watch her. She just kind of blew up a year or two ago, so I always see shit in her feed because she does commentary around things that occasionally fall in the same circle of stuff I talk about. She talked about the situation.
So what would
and a
you
few
do
good
if you
comments, I
had
thought.
some kind of deep, dark secret, something that you regret and are ashamed of, and suddenly you become famous? So now the clock is ticking down to when inevitably your past will catch up to you. And when it comes to light, do you run away from it or do you face it head on? This is what Sketch, a well-known streamer, had to decide yesterday evening. Before we dive into this story though, make sure that you like this video, subscribe to the comment section channel if you have not. His real name is Kylie Cox. He's a YouTuber, he's a streamer who became popular for playing the NFL game called Madden. I think he's about 25 or 26, and in the last year, he has become one of the fastest rising creators in the gaming space. But he had a past that he hoped nobody would uncover. At one point in his life, he made gay content
She's so dramatic, dude.
for OF. Only, thanks YouTube for not allowing me to say that, only.
Dude, it's funny. That's brilliant because I do wonder. I actually asked a guy at YouTube that is like a representative, like, are you allowed to say OnlyFans on YouTube? And his response is like, you won't necessarily get demonetized, but you might get deranked because of it, which is fucking crazy, right? Like you can't even say, so me just saying OnlyFans, once this gets uploaded to YouTube after StoryFire eventually, it will just, the algorithm will hear that and be like, man, we can't really, no, let's not show this to people, which is whatever. On the podcast, I'm less worried about that here than on the main channel. But yeah, interesting solution here, Brett Cooper, to the oscillating fan drive-by.
I think you guys get the gist of what I'm trying to say. That is where he was making content. And on this last Sunday night, photos, videos, and screenshots of all of this were leaked on X. And I'm sorry, this is going to be bleeped, but I have to say it. This is a prime example of why going into porn and sex work is dangerous and such a serious, serious decision because you can never escape it. We have entire episodes about this. That content will always exist on the internet. I mean, in the case of OF, they continue to own portions of your content even after you leave their platform. Even if you say, I am tired of this industry, I'm not doing this anymore.
That I didn't know. Does not surprise me though. That's probably typical of a lot of social media. I know like shit with like Facebook, even if you deactivate your Facebook account, they still have rights to anything you uploaded to the site. I'm sure that's probably true everywhere, honestly.
I regret it. I'm deleting everything. I'm wiping it as much as I can from the internet. They still own a portion of what you made. So let this all be a cautionary tale. Plus, porn is just a cancer on our society. I think we all know that. Anyway.
Right. So Brett obviously is super conservative, God-fearing woman, takes the stance, porn bad, etc. But I do think she makes a good point though, that like that is true. Like if the second you open that can of worms, right, there's no coming back. The second you open that can of worms where you're making adult content for the internet, that's it. That's going to live with you forever, right? And for some people that's okay, but there's a lot of people that are going through a phase or in a time in their life where their desperation and need for financial inflation, some sort of financial influx might overshadow their concern about what the future looks like because they're only worried about how they can pay their bills right now. So like, I understand the reasons people do it. Obviously, I've done videos on the main channel before where talking about this nurse that was making six figures, was like, fuck it, started doing OnlyFans and started making $300,000 a month. And it's like, there's always going to be financial incentive because the market is the market. And there's always going to be a huge market for adult content because we are humans, we're sexual creatures and mostly degenerate. But at the same time, regardless of how you feel about adult content, whether you're coming from a place of some sort of morality reasoning because you think it's a sin and you're going to not be in heaven, or you're on the other side of that and you're progressive and you think it's empowering and it's great. You're just you're expressing your sexual freedom, all these things. I'm kind of in the middle of that where I've spoken about the fact that I'm not super religious before. So I'm not that religious, even though I grew up very conservative. So for me, it's less about God thinks it's bad, and it's just more about human nature and society and the fact that regardless of how you feel about it, you are going to be looked at a certain way once you open that book. And then there's just no two ways about it. And you might not care. And that's fine. But there's I think a reason why intrinsically most people feel shame around it, because I think that generally intimacy is supposed to be private, part of a relationship, blah, 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 is what it is. But I just thought that's just an obvious point. And I think that's why Sketch kind of responded the way he did, right? If there wasn't any shame involved in this type of thing, why would he care? Why would he have been almost driven to the point of suicide over it? Certainly there's an element of, having kind of this audience that's turning on you and giving you shit, combined with this feeling of this is something that I was doing in a difficult period of my life. It's an interesting topic. I think the topic of, the proliferation, or I would say the proliferation of the adult industry over the last however many years. Like the fucked up part, brothels, whores, like sex, it's as human as being born. And as long as humans have existed, there's been some form of like sexual degeneracy. And then over human evolution, we've had, different iterations of what intimacy means. And then you have conservative Christianity and the familial nuclear family structure, where anything outside of that is bad. And now you have this very progressive over the last however long, where there's polyamory and polygamy and all different types of sexual expression. And then you have all of this stuff in the middle. I don't know the answer to it all. All I know is that generally I'm thinking about what is a net benefit for your life. What is the easiest way to go through life and get from point A to point B? And in my opinion, doing intimate things and making them public for money is going to lend itself to living a life that is less fulfilling. Aside from, people think that, well, you make all this money and you can do all these things. Well, yes, in my experience, money and materialism aren't fulfilling. You need to make money to pay for bills. I get it. But at the end of the day, there's got to be something more than that. So I don't know. This is a discussion not for this video. I grapple with it sometimes too, because, I would never want to shit on or demean people that make the decision to do that. I mean, they're humans and I love people for what they are, but I just think that it's an interesting decision to do that. This is a little clip from Jinxie and Sketch. Jinxie was the dude who was crying a minute ago, one of Sketch's best friend, that this is one of those like, oh, this doesn't feel the same anymore, does it? Type of tweets.
Good night, chat. Thank you so much.
Clip from a
That was
stream.
awesome. Good night, chat. I'm gonna fuck Sketch in the ass.
No, it's not what's going on.
Me and Sketch are gonna fuck each other. Right in the ass. Thank you, brother. Thank you, sir. Good night.
It is funny because there is something about just like white dudes, like young white guys, sports locker room talk, where it's just like homoerotic jokes are just like 90% of the arsenal of jokes. And I've never seen this more on display than the roast of Tom Brady. If any of you guys watched that, one of the bigger Netflix events, it was like a couple months ago, where the stage was filled with a lot of white dudes from the team, pretty good selection of black guys that he played with over the years, and Kevin Hart hosted it. It was very funny. There's a lot of really good parts. There is this delineation between these two cultures where white dudes just love to make homoerotic jokes and joke about sucking dick and like being gay with each other. And it's like, it doesn't mean you're gay. You just, I don't know what it is. But then on the flip side of that, I feel like this omen in black culture where that's weird. Right. And even Kevin Hart said it on stage. He's like, dude, why all you guys do is talk about fucking each other. It's like super weird to them. Right. It's just cultural differences. So this joke from Jinxie, like to me, just feels normal, and that is normal. But I'm sure for Sketch at the time, he's thinking in the back of his head, like he always does, like, well, oh boy, gonna go along with it, but whoops a daisy, that hits a little different. Knowing what happened. This dude's name is Queso. He's another one of the biggest streamers in the space. He had this to say.
Sketch something. I'm like, oh no, what happened? Did he kill somebody? Because that's what they was making it seem like. I was like, yo, did Sketch kill somebody? Is there a body in his basement? I was like, what happened? And then I looked and saw what happened. And I'm like, I don't care. Hey, if you want a genuine opinion on the situation, bro, who cares, man? Like, I saw that, and it's like, they was acting like he was doing something terrible. As far as I know, there was no crime committed, no nothing that happened. And at the end of the day, chat, I'm a big fan of people doing whatever they want to do as long as you're not negatively affecting somebody else.
I would say that's one of the easiest things to say as an online personality. I've probably fallen into that camp myself sometimes, where anytime, like when people want your opinion on controversial topics, it's super easy. Like the easiest, lowest hanging fruit to anger the least amount of people is to say, I don't care what people do, as long as it's not affecting anybody else. There is an element of truth to that, but I do think we live in a world where leading by example matters. I think there are particular lifestyles and particular things that are maybe not the best, and they're not hurting other people. This is people just doing what they want, being hedonists, indulging themselves. They're not out hurting people. But I think at some point, if you let certain levels of degeneracy go on unchecked, it just continues to spiral. Well, I do in some ways agree with that. Yes, I don't typically care what people are doing as long as you're not hurting other people. I do think there needs to be kind of a call for some level of baseline morality. And I'm not going to go into detail on that exactly, but that's just kind of my knee-jerk reaction. But this is the easiest thing to say as someone with a big audience. People want to know. It's like, what? Oh, I think it's gross. I can't believe he did that shit. And the gay, or it's like, oh yeah, dude, I love the fact that he was having gay sex on the internet and wasn't talking about it. It's like, no, you say, well, he didn't kill anybody, and do whatever you want as long as you're not hurting someone. All right. It's easy.
That's my favorite thing in the world, is letting people do whatever they want to do as long as you're not negatively affecting somebody else. And as far as I know, he ain't did nothing. So what? At the end of the day, Chad, at the end of the day, he's still the same person he was before all this came out. Straight up. Hey, straight up, bro. He is the same person he was before all this came out. And that person's a good dude, man. So, hey, Chad, there ain't gonna be no different treating over here. I'm gonna still play games with him, still do everything, because you know what? Nothing happened, man. You know what I mean? Nothing happened.
I mean, something did happen. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a pretty substantial event in someone's life. Like if any of you listening that have watched me for years, all of a sudden found out I was getting pile drived and having three-ways with dudes from like 5 years ago. There's videos of it all over the internet. That's something happening. I'm not saying I'm not saying one thing or the other about it. It's not like nothing happened. That's a pretty substantial event. I don't think we should crucify somebody for it. And I know I would get crucified in a weird way. That the problem with the internet is, like, I guess what he means when nothing happened, like he is right in the sense that, like, he wasn't out there doing some deplorable thing that was directly harming other people. He just had this past that is considered by many people to be maybe immoral. Not a huge deal at the end of the day, but the internet's going to make it a huge deal. And people that are terminally online are going to make fun of him and talk shit and say they hate him and all these things. And that's just how it goes. And when a kid, he's young, 25, just kind of coming into his own, has this huge audience he doesn't know what to do with, that can be a dangerous game. And, I said it already, but I'm glad he had family and people around him to be that support system, because a lot of people don't have that support system and get pretty nasty. Kai Cenat, one of the biggest streamers in the world.
I understand that it may be shocking to a lot of people, but bro, I'm not gonna lie, bro, to say like mean shit about the nigga and shit is crazy. You feel me? Like, I seen that he said it was like his past and shit, and whether it was or not, bro, I'm not gonna lie, this is how I view the situation. You feel what I'm saying? Why does something that somebody else do get you so mad to the point where you gotta go on the internet and bully the nigga, like, and say crazy shit? You would think that this nigga murdered somebody, like, bro, like, You feel me? Like, you would think the nigga murdered somebody by the way niggas is talking, bro. And it's like, bro, what the fuck? Like, Chad, this is the thing, bro. Like, me personally, I'm not in no space to judge anybody for what they do or what they have done. You feel me? That's not me. That's not my body, bro. I can't do that. Wanna know why? Because I'm human, nigga. I'm human. We are human, nigga. Like, nigga, we are not perfect.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. First comment, being gay is disgusting. Like, there's just always going to be this divide, no matter what. Is Kai gay too? Shake my head. So it's crazy. Like, just Kai coming out and being like, hey, man, like, he's an all right dude. He didn't kill nobody. Like, made some decisions. What it is, and then his whole comment section disgusted with him for not, I guess, coming out and publicly crucifying Sketch for doing what he did. Sketch should be in jail. What, dude? Who are these fucking people on the internet, dude? Kai Cenat will turn out to be gay. Bookmark this. I called it. I don't know, man. It's just, it's what it is, man. This is Bruce drop him off. So there's been a lot of positive reactions and kind of circle jerking around. Like, listen, I think it's great that people came out to support Sketch because for obvious reasons I've talked about. I don't think he needs to be like this martyr or kind of like this god because he was doing a bunch of gay porn and now he's cool and awesome, so it's fine and you're the best. It's like, in a weird way, it's like it's made a lot, like a part of the people like him more. And I don't know, I think part of that is because people see these flaws or whatever it is. They see this dude who had this past he's not pumped about, and I thought his response was pretty good. He dealt with it pretty good, and that can, as somebody who is maybe a big fan, can maybe draw you closer to them to see them go through this hardship and kind of overcome it. That can strengthen that parasocial bond. But I'm sure there's definitely a percentage of his demographic that can't rectify or can't justify that because they come from a place where, like, super orthodox, where, you know, any sort of same-sex sexual relations is a deal breaker, right? And that's just the world we live in. This is Bruce drop him off. So this dude got a lot of shit for talking shit about Sketch.
So everybody that's, oh yeah, he's still my mans. Of course he's still y'all mans because he bring y'all a fucking paycheck. Y'all gotta save his face. Look how fucking brandable he is. Brandable. Niggas can do sex work. Brandable. You can't say nigga though. It's not brandable. White folks can get fucked on cam by black dick and go announce a nigga to fucking in the NFL, gang. But a real deal nigga who play Madden all day with the green screen and sweating and shit gets no love. I don't know his name, chat, but I'm fighting for all black creators at this motherfucking point, like I've been doing.
What's he talking about?
So it's not about you being gay, gang. It's about you not telling nobody and hiding it and coming a whole different alias.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand. Like I said earlier, like what, it's not like he's going to wear that as like on his sleeve and start every interaction with, hey, I used to do gay porn and was addicted to drugs. Watch me play video games. Like, that's such a weird, I don't know. Like, that was the whole point that he said, is like, that was a dark part of his life. He changed. So I don't think he's, it's not like it's an alias where he's still secretly doing this behind the scenes and now he's just pretending to be Sketch, but he's still this kind of like sissy twink that's doing OnlyFans. That's not the case. That would be different, I guess, but.
Like you're a new person. That's not cool, bro. At all. You got kids that watch you, gang. My little brother watch you, bro. And I'm not allowing him to watch you no more because you're just trying to cover this shit up. Like, it's okay for you to be gay. Nobody cares, bro. Nigga, I did a stream with Brandon, a fucking barber. If you think I'm homophobic, think that.
This guy's not making any sense.
I don't give a fuck. But all that sex shit, I know that's gonna become a troll because y'all niggas troll about the P. Diddy shit, all that shit. I don't give a fuck. Y'all niggas don't take shit like this serious with kids. And that's why they end up gay at fucking 11 years old. That shit don't make no sense. Shut the fuck up, nigga. I got fucking mauled by everybody for Twitter DM.
Everyone's got something to say, dude. Guy was feeling very heated about that. Why is he so mad, dude? What the fuck's he so mad about? So this dude clearly was not received well, except by all the people. Again, like I said earlier, there for whatever reason, it seems like same thing I said in the African American community, it feels a little less receptive to gay stuff. That not all of them. Certainly, there's another guy named Duke Dennis.
To be honest, bro,
African American streamer.
I don't give a fuck. Y'all shouldn't give a fuck. It's not y'all. It's not y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like if that's not what you into, then that's not.
Are we still saying African American? Can I just say black? Is that fine? Right? It's like it's just so much easier. It's one syllable instead of African American. African American, 7 syllables versus black, 1. I'm just gonna say black.
If that's not what you into, then it shouldn't even be that big of a deal. You know, so I think y'all dragging it. And that's even assuming if it's real. If it's real, cool. If it's not, cool. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, he grown. He can do whatever he want to do. I don't know why y'all give a fuck so much. And you know, motherfuckers change, bro. Even if it is real, even if that's the path.
He's like, as long as he's not gay anymore, that's all right. But if he's still sucking dick, well, I'm gonna have to make another video on that.
Yes, why y'all bringing up old shit? If we keep it in the band, why are y'all bringing up old shit? So, whatever his sexual preference is, that don't take away the fact that he's a great fucking guy.
All right.
I met him. I've been with him. I've been around him. I've been hanging with him. I've been chilling with him. He's a great fucking guy. He's a genuine guy. He's a sweet fucking guy. He's a good dude. If you stop being his friend just because of that, you weird. I can't count.
You weird.
If you stop being sketch friend just because of that, if you cut ties, if you don't want to be associated with him just because of that, you weird as hell. And I'll take it a step further. Y'all, like, this is why the world.
And end the clip. That was Duke Dennis. He's like a pretty level-headed dude. XQC not pumped about the Bruce drop him off reaction that we just heard 2 minutes ago. XQC, one of the biggest streamers in the space.
Doing this whole like Bruce Andy doing this whole like smoking a weed with my friends, with the type of audience that they have. This is the argument. This is the argument that they push. This is their mentality. Is a lot more damaging to the youth than some guy having some skeletons in his closet from way back when, years before, of being something else. It's by a basis of maybe 500x, 1000x the damage. So if you want to save the kids, don't make fucking streams that are targeted at kids where you smoking weed with your boys, doing drugs. I'm good on that, bro. Bruce Andy.
Interesting angle. He's like, yeah, well, Bruce like smokes weed and has a child audience, so that's more damaging than the fact that Sketch has a history of gay OnlyFans content and has an audience of kids. I mean, everyone's just like throwing stones. Meanwhile, the first comment is, the guy that gambles hundreds of thousands of dollars in front of kids is lecturing Bruce about pot. Laugh my fucking ass off. Not a bad point, honestly. It's tough to stand on morals, right? When like, all right, you're getting paid millions of dollars to gamble millions of dollars to your child audience. And I'm not like one of these guys that's like, death to gambling streamers. Like, I don't really care. But tough to have a moral, tough to have a soapbox. Where do you draw the line? What is it? All right, smoking weed's bad. Gay sex is bad. Gambling's bad. What's worse? What's worse? Let's have a fight. Let's duke it out. Who's doing the worst thing to their audience of children? Fucking stupid. Obviously, Sneeko had a lot to say on the situation, and dude makes my fucking brain bleed. He's about as smart as a fucking dumpster full of rocks, so I don't even want to watch those. That pretty much sums up the situation. There's not a whole lot to say beyond that. I think it's just interesting the way that the internet reacts to things. You know, it feels like everyone's so desperate for the next big story, and the bigger the personality is, obviously the bigger the story is. And not gonna lie, having this type of thing happen is a pretty big deal. It's going to be a big story. It's not like, oh, he said the word retard 5 years ago. Like, we've seen that before, like Mr. Beast, like articles like from when he was 16 and said the word retard or said the word fag or something like that. Nothing burgers. But it's like, all right, you got several videos of you doing full-blown butt sex, dressed up, and I don't even fucking know. And now you're like, it is just kind of a weird, it was just a little bit of an out of left field curveball, I think, for a lot of people to digest. But, I'm in the camp of like, whatever, man. Seems like a cool guy. Hope he's doing well. I don't think anyone deserves to be, crucified and have to wear a scarlet letter on their chest for the rest of their life for going through a phase where they were maybe experimenting and struggling with some addictions. I just think I think it's a positive that he seems like he's in a place in his life now where he's surrounded by better people. Don't think he's doing drugs anymore. Whether, the question of whether or not he's actually gay, what his sexual preference is, that shouldn't matter. Who gives a shit? Maybe he was just making the content for money because he was an addict, or maybe he does prefer men, in which case, whatever. Maybe he found God and now he's struggling with that. And, because you saw in his quote unquote apology where he's like, yeah, I'm not proud of it. I'm different now. Meaning, like, did you go to gay conversion camp? Are you straight now? Or are you just not doing drugs? You're still gay? Like, what do it? Nobody's business. Who cares? But yeah, couldn't avoid it. Every time I logged on Twitter this week, it was someone's fucking opinion on Sketch. And I like to keep my finger on the pulse of what's going on in these, the streaming communities and these news stories that kind of take over the feed for a while. A lot of you guys might even, that are listening might not have even known who he is. And if you're still listening, these are the things that are big deals these days amongst the kids. And if you are a little bit younger, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm curious what your thoughts are on it. As always, appreciative of you being here for a little bit. Tequila's gone. If I keep going, I'll have to pour another, and that would be bad. So we're going to wrap it up here, and we're going to see you in the next episode of Decently Indecent. Stay hard. Fuck, that's David Goggins' line. Stay semi. There you go. Stay semi. Peace. See you next week.